Liz Kuhlkin goes for a U.S. Open championship. She's got it with the 9 pins. And she has won the 2018 U.S. Women's Open. It's her first career major.
1045 The Team and 1045theteam.com. Happy to have Rotterdam native Liz Kuhlkin on the line for us, the newest U.S. Women's Open champion. And, of course, Liz, just hearing that, of all the interviews you've done over the past week or so, how does that feel?
It's still pretty incredible, just to hear it. I mean, I've watched the telecast a few times these past few days, and I still almost can't believe that I'm the girl hoisting that trophy at the end of the telecast. It's still pretty surreal for me. It's starting to finally sink in a little bit, but it's pretty incredible for sure.
So, Liz, you said you've watched that a few times, but take me back to that day, okay? You're the 5 seed. You've worked hard the entire tournament to get where you are. And I've always thought, especially on telecast, if you're one of the earlier matches, if you win one, it might turn into be an advantage for you. What exactly was your mindset going into the telecast, and how did it change?
Absolutely. I 100% agree with being a 4 or 5 seed is, in my opinion, a beneficial thing. Obviously you're going to have a lot more work to be done compared to a number 1 seed that's going to have one match to win. But I have been in the 5 seed before. Actually, my first title I won in 2015 at the Topeka Open. I was also the 5 seed, ironically, and I climbed the ladder to win that way, my first title. There's a lot of benefits to it. Number one, when you're bowling on TV, there's a lot of different transitions that go on. The lights and everything make the lanes transition faster. They get a little bit trickier. And as a 4 or 5 seed, you're able to experience that the entire time. And I definitely saw that bowling on TV against Danielle, against Shannon, against Aaron. You're able to see those transitions as you go. And in my opinion, it's a huge benefit. So I had been in that position before, and I had experienced it, and I was able to take my experience and do well with it.
Yeah, Liz, definitely you mentioned that the lanes played differently, especially that right lane. It seemed like the entire telecast, you were living kind of on the light side most of the time and carrying rather successfully. Was there any thought of maybe changing equipment or making a big adjustment, especially on that right lane?
Yeah, so I started off with a pin-down ball, which is going to get through the fronts a little bit cleaner and is going to have more action down lane. And I actually switched balls the second match against Danielle to a pin-up ball. It was the same ball, a Brunswick method. It was the same ball, but I switched to a pin-up ball, which we had just drilled the night before, so it's a fresher cover, and it's also pin-up, so it's going to hook a little bit harder off the spot. And that was a wonderful call by my 2 ball reps, John Van Hees and Chuck Gardner. We had a nice conversation about it, and luckily it was the right move. And even though I had the fresher cover, like you said, I still was coming up a bit light on that right lane, especially. It just played tighter down lane the entire time.
Talking with Liz Kuhlkin, the newest U.S. Women's Open champion here on 1045 The Team, and Rotterdam native, Shelmont grad, of course, Nebraska grad, winning a couple national championships there as well. There was an important turning point in that match, Liz. In the 5th and 6th frame, you were already on a strike, and then you doubled after coming off of a miss from your opponent, and you carried both messengers off the wall. Did you feel like that gave you kind of a feeling that this might be your day?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, on the telecast, they showed a zoom in on my face after those, and I just had this really big smile, and it was just because it's like you said, it's your day. The pins are falling your way. You have to take advantage of that, and, definitely after that happened, I knew that I had some juju going, and I just had to keep executing, making good shots, and the pins were falling my way, so I had to take advantage of that.
Even a step further, Liz, though, you talk about the juju you had not only in the telecast, but, I mean, you battled all the way through qualifying. You even had to shoot 299 to make the cuts and into the TV show. What exactly was your thought process going through the tournament, knowing that you had to throw some big scores to make it where you did?
Yeah, so going into the last block of qualifying, I believe I was 207 pins back from the TV show, and at that last game of the first block, I believe the 7th or 8th game, I looked at my ball rep, John Van Hees, and I said, my luck's pretty good right now. I think I shot 230 and 260 to end the first block, and I said to him, if we come back and the lanes are like they are because they should, because they don't re-oil, I said, if I make some shots here, buddy, and I keep it in the pocket and make my spares, I think I got a pretty good chance, because I was really liking the way my ball was going through the pins, had a lot of good looks going on. So, I mean, I was motivated. I was absolutely 100% motivated to climb up the ladder, and with the way the match play is with the 30 bonus pins, anything is possible. So I was lucky enough where I still had that look. My ball was going through the pins, won some matches, had the 299 game that hoisted me up into the top 5, and just kept rolling from that point.
Yeah, Liz, I've been in many tournaments with you and know when you have that look in your eye to kind of look out, because when you're focused, and especially throwing shots like that, you can pretty much do anything. And after this tournament, you got to feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, a great feeling when the pins are falling your way and you feel like you're matched up. You just got to make shots, execute, and usually when you have that mindset, the pins are going to fall your way anyways.
Now, take me back to that final shot. I saw you looking at the scoreboard many times to know exactly that you needed 19 pins over and over again. You throw the strike, and then you can kind of see the emotion hitting you a little bit. You leave the 10 pin. And, of course, we've all had moments in sports that kind of emotions get the better of us. And the first two people you thought of were your parents. Take me through your thought process there, and then, of course, thanking them on national TV as you made the spare.
Yeah, so, I definitely looked at that scoreboard at least 5 or 6 times. I just wanted to be absolutely sure of what I needed, because in that position, going for a major win, you don't want to make any mistakes, especially scoring-wise. You want to make sure you know exactly what you need. So once I realized that I needed the 19 pins, I got the first strike, was lined up on that lane. So I just told myself, make a good shot here, left the flat 10. And at that point, I knew whether I missed it or I made it that I had won. And, just in my mind, just everything, memories flooded into my head. My parents bringing me to tournaments when I'm 10, 11 years old, driving me cross-state, going to all these different places. And now I'm standing there as the new 2018 Women's U.S. Open champion. And they just have done so much for me, growing up throughout the years, driving all over the place, bringing me all over. And I absolutely had to thank them as soon as I had the opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt, Liz. And, of course, let's just go over some of the accomplishments here. 2 NCAA titles, 890, a record triple that you shot last year. You already have a victory on tour. Now you finally have a Women's U.S. Open title. Where does this rank in all of those accomplishments when those memories were flooding into your head on TV?
Absolutely. You have your accomplishments, obviously, that you've had with a team, that being with the University of Nebraska, and I've also, winning the Team USA medals when I was a junior in 2014. There's the accomplishments you have with a team, and obviously the individual accomplishments. This is a major title. If you told me 5 years ago that I was going to win my first major title at 24 years old, I wouldn't be so sure about it. But, it's a pretty amazing feeling. All of our players work hard to get to the pinnacle of our sport, which is winning a major. And, to now have a green jacket and an eagle in my possession, it's just amazing. And there's been so many prestigious players that have won this event, and now I'm a part of them, and it's just pretty incredible.
Liz, I'm sure that your phone was just nonstop between all the family and friends back here in the 518, everyone who supported you. And I could imagine after that tournament, it probably was hard to keep the juice even on your cell phone.
Yeah, when I got off the show, they had this promotion that after the show, whoever won was going to be doing an autograph session immediately after the show. So after I did interviews and took pictures, I didn't even get to go to my phone right away to call my parents or everything. We went right to the booth and did an autograph session. So that was about an hour-ish long. So after I went to my phone after that, my phone was so hot. It felt like it was in an oven for like an hour. It was burning from just, different messages, from people back home, from people from college. Just, I wanted to call my parents right away. That was the biggest thing I wanted to do. But, one of the things I always remember is where I come from, my roots. And that's why my strike song was Empire State of Mind. And, I'll never forget where I come from. I have a lot of appreciation for everything I've been through leading up to this in my career. And it's very important for me to remember the 518 and everything I've been through here.
No doubt about it, Liz. And, of course, the work's not done yet. You spent another week in Texas getting ready with Team USA this past week as well.
Yeah. So, basically, after the U.S. Open win, I hopped on a plane to Albany, and I was home for about 8 hours. I had just enough time to catch a wink of sleep and switch over my suitcase. And then the next morning I was on a plane to Dallas to the training center for Team USA for a week and had the opportunity to train with Team USA for 6 days. And, you know, even though it was right after the U.S. Open where you bowl 56 to 60 games, it's right back to the grindstone. And I'm absolutely 100% blessed to be able to train with Team USA. So I was pretty lucky in that standpoint as well.
Liz Kuhlkin, Rotterdam native, and of course now the newest U.S. Women's Open champion. And of course, at a young age, 24 years old, this is not the last that you will hear from her. Liz, thank you so much for giving us some time here on 104.5 The Team, and we'll keep track of your career and all of your success.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Brian.